Here we are again at Hersheypark, the sweetest place on earth. And I normally don't do parks repeatedly, but I wanted to do another high-quality version of this park because I wanted to get the original entrance to the park one last time before it's changed. But it turns out I missed the shot because, as you see, all the construction equipment is already here and everything's been torn up. So let's move into the park and I'll show you the park one more time and we can look at this section, which you're only going to see for the 2019 season, because in 2020 this will be Chocolate Town, an entirely new entrance to the park. And they're also going to be moving a few rides, and they're also going to be building a new ride. They're going to be building a new massive steel coaster. So this is currently the sort of makeshift entrance they had for 2019. They have these portable restrooms they brought in. They put up all this fencing to hide all the demolition that's been going on all around it. And it was an amazing amount of demolition when we were there. Just huge piles of boulders everywhere. So here's the security checkpoint. And let's just pass on through and then follow the pathway over to the main entrance.
Hersheypark. To purchase tickets, please visit Ticketing Services, located at the tram drop-off area. Or get to the fun even faster by purchasing tickets using our free mobile app. For your convenience, free Wi-Fi is available throughout the park. Guests who already have tickets may proceed to the main entrance. Maps are available inside the entrance. Maximize your visit with the Hersheypark app. For ride wait times, a GPS map, connect your HP Go wristband, attraction hours, shows and dining information, and more. It's free and available for Apple and Android devices. In summer of 2020, Hersheypark is unlocking an all-new chapter, Hershey's Chocolate Town, the place where fun meets chocolate in more ways than ever before. Hershey's Chocolate Town will be a new region at Hersheypark, where guests can play, eat, shop, and gather. Upgrade today's ticket to a season pass to unlock unlimited visits all year long, free parking, discounts on food and beverage, and more. Stop by Season Pass Services next to Ticketing Services or any guest services location inside the park for more information on upgrading your season pass. For your safety, all hand-carried items, including backpacks and belt packs, are subject to search. Metal detection equipment may be used. Please keep all non-essential items in your vehicle. As we strive to accommodate all of our guests, Hersheypark has implemented a clean air commitment. Smoking, including electronic cigarettes, is restricted to designated smoking areas, which are conveniently located throughout the park. Also included in your one presentation is entirely smoke-free. For your convenience, wheelchair and electronic convenience vehicle rental is located in Carousel across from Ticketing Services and are subject to availability.
And right there you can see some of the new footings going in for the new coaster. But you could see a lot of work is being done. And here's the entrance as it stands now, which will be a lot different in 2020. The big yellow steel coaster over on the right is Sky Rush, which unfortunately wasn't running when we were there. It's a very intense ride. So let's proceed inside the park and take a walk through. And as usual, to avoid the copyright police, I've had to reverse a lot of the background audio because there's pop music playing all over the park. So here we are inside, and this pretty much is what it looks like. Now, this building right here used to have really good falafels. Now it's just a stroller rental area. Hi, Karen. Over on the left is a Nathan's. And over on the right is Hershey's Chocolate Shop. Now, obviously, when Chocolate Town comes in, there's going to be a lot more chocolate all over the place, but for now, that's the place to get your chocolate. And in front of us is the statue of Milton Hershey, the fountain. And there's the carousel. Now, the carousel is going to be moved to the front of the park when they redo Chocolate Town. So this will be the last time you see the carousel in that particular location where it's been for a long time. There's the balloon ride and the Jets ride. And we're going to make a clockwise sweep of the whole park, a little bit differently from what I did before. And I'm going to truly try to go clockwise around the entire park. And of course, it's a huge park, so it'll take a little while. And there are a few new rides since the last video I did, but mostly it's very similar. And over on the left is the Founder's Kitchen. That's one of the big eateries in the park. And they have really good veggie burgers there, black bean burgers. And over on the right is the Subway. And next to that is the Dutch Candy Kitchen. Milton Hershey basically created the town of Hershey to support his candy company, and he had employees live in the town. And in order to give back something to the employees, he opened Hersheypark in 1906 and gradually built it up, adding more and more attractions and roller coasters until it's become the massive entertainment place we know today. Over on the right here is Comet Hollow, which is one of the many paths that gets you different places in the park. Over here on the left is Reese's Cup Fusion, which was new in 2019, and it's an interactive dark ride. It's almost like a roller coaster. The cars are on tracks and they spin, and you try to shoot things and save the world for candy or something. It's a long wait if the line is full. We were in line about an hour and a half to get in there. And over on the left, that blue railing is the entrance to the Monorail, which gives you a beautiful view of the entire park. And a lot of little shops and rides, flat rides scattered around this area of the Midway. There's the Monorail entrance and exit. Over here on the right is a karaoke booth where they're playing a lot of the karaoke pieces that kids have done during the past few days. That big red roller coaster track that you saw was Storm Runner, which is a pretty intense ride. It's a launch coaster. And on the right is the Chevrolet Music Box Theater that has shows that go on throughout the day. You can see part of the monorail track there. There's a lot of really good signage in the park, and that helps you find your way around. There's a little stage that has little shows going on throughout the day. Echo Dell. And there's the Chick-fil-A over on the left, the pirate ship on the right. I made this walkthrough right after the park opened, so there is not a lot of activity going on right now, and not all the rides are open. In fact, a lot of the rides were testing while I was walking through. Over on the right is the Dry Gulch Railroad, which is a nice, again, tour of the park with a few animatronic figures here and there. In front of us is the Playdome Arcade, one of the few arcades in the park. And over on the left is the first aid station, in case you need that. There's another path over on the right here, a bridge that takes you down to a different section. But we're going to keep going on this path, which is basically heading north into the park. You can see a big yellow track over on the left there, that is Fahrenheit, which is another intense coaster. Has a vertical track and a past 90-degree drop. Hershey tends to build coasters that are compacted into a very tight area because they really, even though it's a big park, a lot of their coasters are in small areas. So I'm very curious to see what they do with their massive new coaster that they're putting in next year and to see how it fits, see if it spreads itself out a little more. So let's watch Fahrenheit go up the hill here. And away it goes. And that is the station for Fahrenheit over on the left there in front of us. Pioneer Souvenirs over on the right. And ahead of us on the right now is another path. We're going to be taking that when we come back. But we're going to keep heading northward toward the far end of the park. The park is sort of shaped like a giant T. There's Fahrenheit. I do like the shade in the park. There's a lot of trees and a lot of shade, which is good because it does get pretty hot in this area of Pennsylvania. And there you can see Fahrenheit's big knot of track. And over on the right here is the Boardwalk, which is Hersheypark's big water park area. That's one of the entrances. There are several different ways to get there, but that's the main one. Coming up on the right is Tidal Force, the park's massive shoot-the-chute ride. That distant rumbling you hear is from the Wildcat, which is over on the left. That was the first new roller coaster built by Great Coasters International, which, with the Wildcat, set its look, which was a throwback to the old Pryor and Church coasters of the 1920s. And in fact, the Wildcat's name came from the very first roller coaster that Hershey put in 1923 into Hersheypark. So we'll stand here and we'll watch Tidal Force go through its motions, and you'll be able to see the splash. Now keep in mind, this is testing, so the boat is empty. When the boat is full, that splash is much, much larger. Notice on the ground there it says splash zone, so that shows you how far out the water normally hits. So let's continue on. This is going to be the far north end of the park. There in front of us is the Wild Mouse. And that wood coaster curving track that you can see in the distance is the dueling section of Lightning Racers, which is one of my favorite rides in the park. It's a phenomenal roller coaster, and let's just go down through this area and circle around. So we're going into the Boardwalk area. Hi there. Hershey doesn't really have a theme to it per se. It's mostly themed around chocolate, obviously, but there are distinct areas of the park, some more themed than others. So we're in Boardwalk right now, and there's a nice view of Lightning Racer and its twisted track. That was also made by Great Coasters that made the Wildcat. Well, besides Boardwalk, the other sections are Founder's Way, where we came in, and there's also Midway America, which we're heading to now, and there's the Hollow, which was mentioned earlier, where the Comet is, and Pioneer Frontier, which is a sort of western themed area.
Kissies may ride the red dual straight slide and the red small spiral slide. Proper swimwear is required. Swimwear with exposed zippers, buckles, rivets, or metal ornamentation is not permitted. Please refrain from horseplay including, but not limited to, diving, running, jumping, and excessive breath-holding. If you choose to participate on any of the slides, please refrain from head-first sliding. Children should not be left unsupervised.
So this is the north end, the far north end. Can't go any further than this. And there is the gift shop for Lightning Racer. And right next to that is the entrance to Lightning Racer. And then we're going to swing back around heading south along the same midway we came in. And over on the left here is the entrance to the Ferris Wheel, which gives you a nice view of the park, and it also looks spectacular at night. We'll get a look at it as we get around here. That big building over on the left is Laugh Tracks, which is an in-the-dark spinning coaster. Has a lot of day-glow illustrations in it, trying to recreate the look of an old Bill Tracy dark ride. And there's the Lightning Racer entrance there. You can see a little kiddie train tucked into the middle there. There's the Ferris wheel. And that Hershey symbol on the hub is going to be right in your face when you come into the park in 2020. It'll be right at the entrance gates, so everybody will know the logo. And there goes the Lightning Racer up the hill. Over here on the right is the Whip, a classic ride that a few parks still have. And this one is nice and shaded on the inside. Notice that Hershey gives you plenty of places to sit, which is really good because it's an exhausting walk around the park. There are lots of very steep hills, so having a place to just sort of catch your breath is a good idea. And this is the entrance to Laugh Tracks here on the right. There's the entrance to the Wild Mouse, and over here on the right is the entrance to the Wildcat. And they have a kosher food truck tucked over in the corner here. You know, chicken fingers, burgers, and fries. But I wish they'd bring back those falafels. Those were really good. When the Wildcat was first built, it was pretty easy to see where the structure was, but now all the foliage has grown in around it, and it makes it a little harder to see the track. And you can see the hill of Tidal Force off in the distance there, so we're coming back on that place where we diverged a little earlier. And it just made a big circle around there, and now we'll go back up the same route we came down. That's a bigger splash. To save us the long walk back up the way we came down, I'm just going to dissolve to that point where we're going to branch off toward the southwest end of the park. And through the magic of video, we're now heading across the bridge toward the Pioneer Frontier section. And the first ride we encounter here on the left is Sidewinder, which is the park's boomerang coaster. It's a fairly stock ride that a lot of parks have, but Hershey did a really nice job landscaping it. Now, if you were to take a right here, notice there's a Chicky and Pete's, and there's a Moe's, and a big open cafe area there so you can eat. And that will join up with a midway that we're going to get to in a little bit. We're going to be going down this way and then circling around. Because I wanted to show you the entrance down here for Storm Runner, which is that red track we saw earlier. This is a really potent launched coaster. So we'll take a right down this path here and follow it down into the Pioneer Frontier section. The brown track you see here on the left is part of Trailblazer, which is the mine train ride. It's a short but fun ride. And above you can see the trestle for the Dry Gulch Railroad, which doesn't really have any other stop. It's just a round trip from that station. As you can see, a lot of nice plantings, really nice landscaping all over the park. As you might expect in this section, they have barbecued food, Dietz and Watson, and smokehouse, stuff like that. There's the entrance to the Trailblazer. And that pneumatic sound you're going to be hearing quite a bit of are the Hershey triple towers, which you can see in front of us there. There are 3 different size shot towers. One blasts you up, one blasts you down. And there are 3 different sizes for 3 different thrill levels. Huge thrills, medium thrills, or small thrills. You can see that blue canopy in front of us, and there is the entrance to the Aqua Theater, which has dolphins and sea lions and aquatic animals, a little show there. Now we're going to hang a left here and go up this steep path toward Kissing Tower Hill. In case you're wondering, these giant white pillars on either side of us are holding up the track of Storm Runner. There on the right is the Triple Tower. There are the kiddie trucks in front of us. One thing I do like about Hershey is they do scatter a lot of kiddie rides throughout the park. It's not just a kiddie land, although they have one of those areas, but there are a lot of kiddie rides all over. There goes the Medium Tower. Now, this colorful building up here on the right is new for 2019. Bubbles, I think is how you pronounce it. And it's hard to describe. It's a sort of dessert, but it's a drink. It's like a drinkable gelati that you have custom made for yourself in a little round jar. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but that's another place to eat. There is, no, that's not a place to eat. That was Zoo America right there, which is a free zoo, a very big one and a nice one with your admission. Now that's another path to get to Comet Hollow, but we're going to follow this path alongside the monorail. And here's yet another pathway to get to Comet Hollow. So, as you can see, there are lots of intertwining paths all over the park. On the right here is Gourmet Grill, which has really good Greek food offerings. And there's the Sunoco Turnpike. It's a double ride. It used to be called Twin Turnpike a long time ago until they rebranded it Sunoco. And that means we're getting to the top of Kissing Tower Hill, where the Kissing Tower is located. And the Kissing Tower entrance is right in front of us there. And the Turnpike entrance, the Sunoco entrance, is right there. This is the highest point in the park. So it's fitting that the over 300-foot high Kissing Tower would be here. Another good ride in this area is Coal Cracker, which is the park's big log flume. That's one of the few speed racers left, where it's like a little speed bump at the end of the run. And what you're looking at here is Great Bear, which is a pretty intense B&M suspended looping coaster. You can hear it roaring in the distance, so we'll watch it come back into the station. You can see the entrance right there on the left, and over on the right is Tower Fries, and then there's another arcade directly in front of us. And there's a nice view of the difference in height between the three towers. And of course, each one is named for a different Hershey product. So now we're going to take a left and we're going to go down the hill toward Comet Hollow. As you can imagine, the name implies, hollow means it's down low. And it runs right alongside the creek. I find it ironic that this section is called the Overlook, and yet the actual overlook is hidden by a wooden fence, so you can't actually look over the cliff there. The blue track in front of us is Super Duper Looper, which was the first steel roller coaster they installed in the park, and one of the early steel looping coasters. And it takes great advantage of the difference in height and the elevation changes. It's a Schwarzkopf coaster, one of the great classics that's still running well. And you don't have over-the-shoulder harnesses in the trains, which means it feels a lot smoother when you ride it. Here comes Great Bear. Let's just watch it go through its paces over here. And as luck would have it, here comes Super Duper Looper. So let's take a look at that one. And there's a nice look at Spring Creek, which cuts through most of the park. You know, when they said they were going to be building another massive coaster, I just couldn't imagine where they were going to put it, because as you see, things seem like they're pretty packed in, and they've done some clever engineering to try to fit all the coasters in that they have so far. It'll be interesting to find out what they do. I guess by the time I do my next walkthrough video of this park, we'll know. So we're now in Comet Hollow. On the left is the entrance to Super Duper Looper. Directly in front of us is the entrance to Sky Rush. Now, there used to be, before the construction, a really picturesque path that was dead ahead, and you could follow Spring Creek alongside Sky Rush and the Comet, and it was really beautiful. And now it's blocked off because of the construction. But hopefully they'll bring it back when the new midway is complete. And I think I hear the Comet going up the lift hill, so let's pause and watch that. Comet is still my favorite ride in the park. So let's continue on through Comet Hollow. As you can see, lots of little shops, game booths, and food places all along here. There are actually only a couple of ways in or out of this section. We came by one, and we'll see the other one as we get up here. But it's pretty much a locked off section, mostly because of Spring Creek. They don't have a lot of bridges going over that in this particular area. Pretty interesting how they managed to squeeze Sky Rush around the Comet. And right now it looks like we were there on a beautiful day, and at this point it was really nice out, But a couple hours later, the sky started clouding over, and then it was pretty much heavy showers, and a lot of the rides were shut down during that period. So I'm glad I got my walkthrough done early on. Above us, you can see Skyview, which is their sky ride, a nice relaxing trip above Spring Creek. And straight ahead of us is basically a dead end. So we're going to hang a left and go up the hill back toward Founder's Way. Like the train, Skyview is a round trip, and so that's the station there. That's the only station there is. You get on there and you get off there. And here we are, back on Founder's Way. And that's wrapping up our tour of Hershey Park. For well over a century now, Hershey Park has been a destination, originally for Milton Hershey's employees, but now for people all over the world. If you're anywhere in the eastern or central Pennsylvania area, this is a park to come to. It probably requires more than one day to see everything if you really want to spend time here, but it's well worth it. It's a beautiful area that's just lovely to hang out in, even if you don't do all the spin and barf rides. Or if you're not into the intense rides, there are plenty of other nice rides. And it'll be interesting to see where it goes over the next century, now that they're bringing in a whole new design and they're moving the carousel and revamping the whole entrance. But I'm sure it'll be successful because they have a really good crew on hand who knows how to make a pretty park, something that families can enjoy together. So we'll linger on the carousel a little bit while it's in its original home here for the last time. The carousel was originally built by Philadelphia Toboggan Company in 1919 and moved to the park in 1945. Philadelphia Toboggan Company also built the Comet. And of course, this park isn't the only thing to do in this area. At the very beginning of this video, we saw the Chocolate Museum, which is a whole attraction in and of itself and is usually mobbed, and there's lots to do in there, including the ride through the making of chocolate. If you like camping, Hershey also offers a really nice campground where there's a shuttle up to the park. And it's Amish country around here, which is a beautiful country, a lot of farming and a lot of antiques and a lot of great restaurants, so there's plenty to do in this area of Pennsylvania, the Hershey, Lancaster area, Harrisburg area. So when you're in this area of Pennsylvania, by all means, don't miss a chance to stop off at Hershey Park.